Laura Ingraham joins us every week, and she's down in our nation's capital where they're going to swear in a new Congress. Laura, we're going to talk about that in a moment. But first, the headline today, 2 more cops shot in the Bronx. They were gunned down while confronting some guys who did some robbing, apparently. This on the same day that Mayor de Blasio blasted police officers who turned their backs on him at Officer Liu's funeral. I'm going to play that soundbite, and then I want your reaction. Listen to this.
Those individuals who took certain actions these last week, or last 2 weeks really, they were disrespectful to the families involved. That's the bottom line.
The selfishness of that action, the selfishness of it. The funeral is not a place for that.
Okay, there you've got the mayor and the top cop. What do you think?
Well, one thing we know is that police don't turn their backs on their duty to show up at a reported robbery. In fact, one of the police officers last night in the Bronx was shot in the back. I know both are in critical condition, expected to recover. They're not turning their backs on the most important part of what they do, which is to serve the public. But I think to get respect, you have to give respect. Mm-hmm. And so perhaps the police chief and the mayor would be better served in their desire to quell the police dissatisfaction, the back-turning, is if they really started to show the police the respect that I think they deserve. And I think across the country today, when people see this terrible news out of New York, people are probably wondering, where is the Obama administration? I know they sent Biden to the funerals, and I guess that's fine, but where's the Justice Department? They rushed in after the Michael Brown protest, and they sent their community relations board or agents in to talk to the neighborhoods and to get the community together. Why not do the same thing in New York? Like, show a sign of respect for what's happened to the police there, and actually maybe get people together to have a conversation about why it's so important not to turn the police against authority, because they feel like they're not being respected, they're not being protected.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think where's the Department of Justice today?
Well,
I don't know.
They were working on a task force to retrain all the officers early, and they got in there with expedients. Do you think this is a relationship beyond repair, though, when it comes to de Blasio specifically in the NYPD?
I agree with what Bill O'Reilly said last night. I don't see how you come back from this. I really don't. I mean, I know he's angry. He thinks he's being disrespected. But you talk to the cops on the beat, and I know a lot of you know them in New York as I do. And they're very demoralized, and they have righteous indignation and anger toward this constant barrage of negativity, bad stories, looking at the police in the worst light. And it doesn't inoculate the mayor's office from criticism when he issues the perfunctory, well, we know most officers do a great job. That's not enough. You have to show a consistent level of respect and appreciation, and you don't jump to the worst conclusion and fuel the fans of fires of racism when race had nothing to do with these 2 most recent examples of violence toward individuals where they ended up dying. I mean, it was nothing to do with race, and yet they fanned those flames.
I'm with you, but if short of resigning, apologizing sincerely would be a huge step forward.
Yeah.
Let's switch to it's something right by you, and that is what's going to happen on Capitol Hill today. We're going to find out if Speaker Boehner will be Speaker Boehner, if in fact it's going to be more defections than the 12 that are pretty much on the record of not voting for, saying they're not going to vote for him today for Speaker. How bad is it if it is bad at all for him?
Well, I think in the end, Boehner probably survives. But this is what I'll say to all the Republicans watching. They all watch Fox and Friends in the morning. What were you sent to Capitol Hill to do? What did you campaign on? Did you campaign on aggressive change, positive change in Washington, D.C.? And is holding on to the current leadership really what your constituents are telling you that they want done? It seemed to me that the change in November really was, my goodness, we have to do things differently. You must oppose Obama. Then you must offer a pathway forward to economic growth, enforcing our borders, making sure that the rule of law is respected, and not, I think, falling into the media's theme of, oh, you have to work with Obama on everything. You have to be bipartisan. That's not what people voted for. They voted for a change in direction. And I'm not sure that what Boehner's saying about working with the president, and we can, I just don't don't think that that's motivating anybody.
But
so
do you
look,
think
I
he's
like
going to
Boehner
survive?
as a person, but I think he'll probably survive. But I think for all the Republicans who are backbenchers on this deal, I think they better watch these latest polls of individuals who say, if you don't fight meaningfully against this executive amnesty, we're not voting for you in 2016. So I think all of their necks are on the line if they don't really vociferously oppose the stagnant leadership we have on Capitol Hill.
Well, you talk about them working with the president. What about the president being really adamantly against, seemingly, to work with anyone there in Congress? I mean, he's already sort of laid down his plan for more executive action. You know, Ed Henry actually went yesterday. He said, wait a minute, they haven't even taken their positions yet. And he asked Josh Earnest how these elected officials aren't going to even be given the chance before he decides to use the pen. Watch this and then respond.
The president is going to start the new year by announcing some new executive actions and some new policy proposals that will benefit middle-class families. Indicates that he's most focused on results. He's mostly focused on substantive policy ideas that will benefit middle-class families.
And you're already talking about it. He's moving forward on executive action. He's going out on the road to go directly to the American people. He's free to do that, but he hasn't even been sworn in yet. You're saying he's getting ready to do more executive actions?
Yeah, he is. And the president is determined to make progress where he can on his own.
Laura, if there's anything, the president is not a compromiser. We have seen that in the last 6 years.
So why, right, Ducey, so why are the Republicans turning themselves inside and out to appear to look like they can govern? What they should do
They need
is,
to
frankly,
look reasonable so that in 2 years, you know, people will go, you know what, the Republican Party seemed to be pushing things along. We're acting in my best interest. I'll give him a nod for president.
Exactly, but you have to hand it to Obama, right? I don't agree with anything he's doing. But in defeat, he acts like he won.
Right.
And I think the concern for many of us looking at the Republican Party is in victory, they act like they lose. And so, oh my gosh, we have to move toward Obama. Obama's gone, okay? If I were a Republican congressman, I would act on behalf of the American people. If the president decides to campaign for the next 2 years, he's going to go off doing his campaign stops, let him do that. But what Republicans need to remember is the American people are desperate for economic growth and wage increases across the board for the middle class. If they work toward that and respond to the will of the people, the consent of the governed, they do that, they're going to do really well. Don't worry about whether Obama comes along to your view.
Put it
Go
on his
to where
desk.
the people are.
Put something on his desk. The other thing I would love to see is someone just look responsibly at the deficit. No one even talks about it. We're running out of digits here in New York City to track it. Meanwhile, the president's going on the road. Part one will be Wednesday. Then he'll go over to Phoenix. But he's going to stop in Michigan, and he's going to say, look what a great job I did saving Ford. Excuse me, saving GM.
Saving the car industry.
Yeah, saving the car industry.
New life for it.
But unfortunately, his advance team has him setting up in a plant that's set to close because it's a small car hybrid plant.
Well, that's just delicious irony, right? I mean, we have gas prices falling, oil prices falling, and they go to the hybrid plant. I mean, it's just, you can't make up how stupid that is. But I'm surprised after that deal with moving the Army captains in Hawaii, they didn't ask Ford to move the plant. Okay, can you move this? This is really inconvenient for us right now.
Move the plant.
Or no, or just open the plant. Even though you want to close it, open it so it looks better for the president. Guys, he's going to be on the campaign trail, but what are the Republicans campaigning for? And are they going to hit that sweet spot with the working class people of this country? That's where it is today.
They take over today at noon. We'll find out what they do. Laura, have a great radio show. Kicks off about 45 minutes from right now all across the country. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Great to see you, Laura.
See you next week.
You bet.